we talked for just a brief second about, and this has come up for a few times ever since they introduced the sprint race, really, how important MotoGP Fridays have become.
Right.
Because basically there's free practice 1, which is free practice. It doesn't count for anything. That's the only truly free practice that they get. And then practice in the afternoon on Friday determines who gets into Q1 and who gets straight into Q2 and who has to go through Q1. And so immediately Friday afternoon, the second time you're on track, it's high pressure to go put in a hot enough lap to get into the top 10.
You've had 30 minutes was like free
I think it's 45 minutes, but regardless, it's like
not enough time.
All the teams, all the riders complain like basically your weekend results are determined on Friday afternoon.
On your second
which is
session,
kind of what any of us want, really.
Right. I don't think it's what it does is it benefits the teams that have the most motorcycles, right? So I think that was part of why Ducati was so successul. For a while there, they had 6 bikes on the grid. That was 6 bikes generating data that they get their setup faster.
They had 8 bikes on the grid.
Oh, that's
now
right.
they have 6.
You're right.
Yeah,
they
now
went from 8 to
6.
6.
Yeah.
You know, and then you look at like poor KTM, or they have 4 bikes, or Suzuki had 2. You know, it really, right.
So one of the comments was, and then the other downfall as a fan is it kind of makes it a little bit boring because the grid for the sprint is the starting grid for the race, for the GP.
And if you're not familiar, if you're not as nerdy as we are, and you go to qualifying and you're like, it's confusing to watch the current qualifying system, right? Like, why is only half and 2 make it to the next? And, you know, and all the racers talk about that if you can't finish top 10 in the second practice session on Friday, your weekend's kind of blown.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's hard to recover.
Yeah. So anyway, we talked about that briefly of like, gee, they should really do something about that.
Yeah, I think we've just talked about it more than we talked about it in the last episode.
And a ton of you had great ideas and insight.
A lot of thought went into some of these comments. They were awesome to read.
So it was a bunch of fun because a lot of you have clearly been thinking about this and went and did research. And there was a handful of comments that were like, well, BSB does it this way and this group does it this way. And I think they should do this and steal from this and whatever. I thought all that was fantastic. So if you have other ideas on how they should manage qualifying, please share them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Because of those comments, I thought more about this. So I have some ideas. I want to hear them.
I was busy last week, so I don't have.
You were busy.
I was busy last week, but I want to hear your thoughts.
All right. So I went and did a little research and looked at how some of these different series do it. So Formula One does do an interesting thing. By the way, we could probably do another whole podcast on how much of a mess Formula One looks like right now.
Holy cow.
With the new rules that they've rolled out is really making a spectacle, but not in a good way.
Holy cow,
of their racing.
I mean, we'll just say Drive to Survive next February is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, you got a lot of not so happy drivers right now. Anyway, they do an interesting thing where they do a Q1, Q2, Q3, and it's sort of a knockout where the top chunk from Q1 gets to Q2 and so on. And I think that makes it kind of fun because you get this sort of like, there's this extra kind of stress around qualifying. And I am totally great with qualifying being stressful. I think that should be stressful. It should be like a pressure cooker of an event.
Well, I think for the same reason why when you do your residency, it's stressful, because if you can't handle the stress of residency, maybe you shouldn't be a doctor.
So
right?
I'm happy that qualifying can be stressful, but I'd like practice to be practice to some extent.
Yes. Right.
So one of the ideas was that I thought about this was if the qualifying session basically, so if you instead ignored the practice on Friday and you said, hey, everybody rides in Q1 and the top 12 get to go to Q2, period. So you go out in Q1, the whole show is out there, all 22 riders.
And so in a way that almost penalizes making qualifying one because you're burning through an extra set of tires.
Well, but in my little version now, we all go through Q1. We steal the knockout part from Formula One.
Okay.
So rather than just the bottom...
Yeah, but the bottom 12 wouldn't use that second set of tires for Q2.
Because they wouldn't even get to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So so basically everybody shows up for Q1.
Right.
All 22 riders.
I agree.
The top half, let's call it, they get to advance into Q2.
Right. And that's where you would get, like, you could get pole.
Yep.
You would have to make it to Q2 to get to pole or front row or whatever.
So your top, let's call it, so let's say 12. So your top 4 rows, because it's 3 per row.
Okay.
Your top 4 rows get to go to Q2. So that's similar to what it is today, except then we can skip whatever Friday practice results are.
Yes.
We don't care about Friday. It's not a mini
Other than, like,
qualifying.
I guess the only pro of what's going on now is that second practice on Friday can be sometimes better than the frickin' race. The last 10 minutes can be a nail biter.
You have FP1. It doesn't count for anything. It's FP. It's free practice.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Then you go to practice.
Uh-huh.
Right now, I think practice is
45
minutes, I believe. So let's say 30 minutes is free practice and 15 minutes is pre-qualifying.
No.
You don't like that?
No, I think your idea is better. I think my little injection about what Friday does isn't worth the cost to the riders. What I would do is I would keep what you're doing, right? But your qualifying only qualifies you for the sprint.
Okay, so that's the second piece. So we're on the same page here.
Okay.
So your qualifying sets your sprint grid.
Yes.
Okay. Then what sets your GP grid is your lap time from the sprint race.
Lap time.
All right. So if you
crash out,
if you don't set a lap, you're at the back of the grid.
That seems fair.
Put some pressure on it. But if you're...
But not your finishing position.
Your finishing position.
Why lap time and not your finishing?
Because I think it makes it more dramatic and interesting.
It does.
Because now let's say you get run off track on the first corner.
All right.
Okay, cool. All I care about now is sitting a hot lap. And I watched this.
Oh, yeah. So you could recover from a bad sprint.
So World Superbike does this in World Super Sport, I should say, on the 600s. They do this because they have a race 1, race 2. And I think it's only the top 12 spots, but your lap time, if you're in the top 12 lap times in race 1, that sets your grid spot in race 2. And it's fascinating because there was even at their first round, there was guys who crashed out of the first race, but that had incentive to get the bike up and going, got through hot pit.
So then they don't just like throw their hands up and go back to the pit.
Got the bike repaired, put on a fresh set, and went out just to set a lap time.
Oh, see,
and it makes it exciting.
That.
And it gives them a chance in race
and then
2.
you would have probably the potential of like blue flags, and he came back on track. And
you still have to be courteous.
It makes the sprint actually maybe have meaning.
So
because right now sprint's just like a precursor or a predictor for the main event.
It's a trailer. It gives away the ending. It gives away the ending. I hate it.
Yeah.
Most of the time I hate it. Bury Run was good.
Bury Run was good. And sometimes it can be good, but I think for the most part, I've been less opposed to the sprint because it lets different talents shine sometimes, but this would still allow for that.
All right. So here's my final version. I'll recap this. So Friday is just practice. We don't worry about practice whatsoever. Everybody does Q1.
Right.
If you make it to Q2, now you have a chance at the first 4 rows.
In the sprint.
Then your lap time, your best lap time in the sprint, sets your grid order for the Grand Prix. And I'll have a little caveat to this.
Ooh.
Top 3 spots in the sprint get 3, 2, and 1 points, bonus points.
So wait, we're not getting traditional points in
the
sprint?
No, you're still getting full points. The sprint is still 12 for the win.
Okay.
But if you win the sprint and set the fastest lap of the race, you actually get 15 points.
Oh, I gotcha. I see what you're saying. So like if you won with the fastest lap, or if you got second with the fastest lap,
you get those bonus
3 points. That is sick.
So you get just first, second, third, 3, 2, 1 points, bonus points.
They should put us in charge. Dorna, are you watching?
They're not called Dorna anymore.
I know they're not called Dorna.
Whatever
they're
like MotoGP
Liberty Media.
No.
It's
a separate.
I know they changed it. It's so confusing.
Regardless, we'll call him Dorna for now.
Yeah, you know who we mean. Yeah.
But I love this. I think it would be fun.
I think it'd be super fun.
Friday could just be Friday.
And I think if you just like tuned in, you wouldn't need to necessarily understand the nuance that we just muddled through trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like you might have been confused there for a minute as we got through it, but it would make whatever you're watching fun to watch.
Because it matters.
It matters, right? Even like qualifying 1, everyone's like, and qualifying 1, you would almost want to be like, not even first 3 rows. You wouldn't want to like show your cards. you'd want to maybe be 5th fastest.
Well,
not necessarily fastest.
And can I get through Q1 and not burn up an extra soft? So I
Right.
have an extra in Q2. You know, like there's a lot more
some
thought.
strategery that you have to go through, right?
So I think it would be great. It would also make the rate, not that these guys are rolling off the gas per se, but if you're in the sprint, because the sprint only pays out points to 8th place.
8
I
or 9 or
think.
something, yeah.
If you're in 12th,
Everyone gives up.
there's a gap, you're like, I just got to get through this.
Everybody gives up. But if your lap time could get you a bonus 1, 2, or 3 points.
Hey, if I can follow somebody, if I can pace somebody, if I can get a lead, like maybe I get myself on the 3rd
you
row.
might get like these intense battles, mid-pack battles that could be,
I think it would add just a little element of like spice to what can sometimes be a dreadfully boring sprint race.
I don't think it would necessarily add complexity or risk for the riders.
Just gives them a reason to push.
It gives them, yeah. Or not just bail out, right? Because how many times do you see, I'm in 12th. I'm having a tire issue. I'm just going to come in. And you're like, well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Save your energy. It's a hot weekend or whatever. You're someplace, go get cool. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. But now it would.
So Dorna, listen to us.
For whoever
you guys are.
qualifying.
Yeah, fix this so it gives us everything that we want.
And for those who left us comments, I mean, you're kind of helping us try to change the world here. So, like, kudos to you for some of these ideas.
And also tell us why we're wrong. Tell us what's the right
Tell us why
answer.
this wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Tell us why
I think
this is stupid.
that's fun too.